Hello, everybody. I'm starting my third live. I believe this is my third one. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Shana. I'm just gonna give her a minute to see if... Hey, Christine. Okay, there's Shana, so I'm gonna let her in. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Gio. Thanks for being here. Hi, Liz. I accepted Shauna's request, so she should be hopefully on here soon. Let's see. Where'd you go? Hi, Neil. Shana, are you there? Let's see. Invite. Okay, Shana, I just invited you. I don't know if something's going to appear on your screen there. Thank you, everybody who has joined. Shauna's here with us. It's just waiting for her to connect. Shana, did you get my request? Was it, did something appear on your phone saying that I was requesting you to join? Hi, Elsa. Okay. Let's see. Shauna's gonna leave and try logging in again. I don't know what's going on, but excited. Hi, Michelle. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. We're having a moment of technical difficulties, but Shauna's logging out and we'll be logging back in and should be in here soon, hopefully. Let's see if that works.
All right, we're in business.
Oh, we got it. There she is.
There we go. There we go.
Can everybody hear us? Hi, Mimel. Can everybody hear us? I think we're good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Apologize for those couple of minutes of technical difficulties, but my name is Giselle, and today I am very happy and thankful to have Shana here with me. And Shana, just so you know, I have a couple of other viewers on here that are also Cushing survivors and warriors, so you're here in great company. And also several of my friends, a lot of friends that I've made recently that are also authors and are joining me here today, us here today. So I'm going to introduce Shana. Let me just move this a little bit. She's originally from the Philippines. She used to be an actress and now she's actually a nurse. But Shana and I got to talking because she also has Cushing's, but it's different from mine in the sense that she does not have a growth. She doesn't have anything internally that is causing Cushing's. However, Shana suffers from asthma. And so, due to that, she was prescribed steroids, and the steroids are what have caused her Cushing. So, Shana, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you used to do, who you are today, and we'll get started like that.
Okay, I'm gonna have you stop me if I ramble because I can get really excited, especially when I meet, new friends and new people. So, I am from the Philippines. I came to the United States because I had this big dream of becoming a big Broadway actress. I worked up the ladder. I eventually achieved my dream. I balanced it with a nursing degree, so I was juggling a full-time nursing career and a full-time like hustling to make it up the ladder of an actress, both on TV and both on screen and on stage. So there was really like no reprieve for me. I've always had asthma. and I was diagnosed as a kid. It was really severe as a kid. I came to the United States. It kind of disappeared as an adult. And then it came back full force. They would always treat it with steroids, but I never really had issues with the steroids. Um, COVID hit. When COVID hit, I kind of put my acting career aside. I went into ICU nursing, particularly cardiovascular ICU nursing. I work at one of the wonderful top hospitals here in Chicago. It's a very intense job, and I got so addicted to the intensity that I would work like, 10 days straight. So I was very active.
Wow.
On top of that, I was into a degree of extreme sports. I got into triathlons, and they were bucket list race triathlons like Escape from Alcatraz. They're the
Wow.
harder, more nuanced ones. Um, and I got into ice swimming. So very active lifestyle. Um, and then all of a sudden, I got sick last year with severe asthma this time. It affects about 8 to 10% of the asthma population. And that's where people who have this type of asthma, medicine has already hit a wall long before you could do anything about it. So they put me on prednisone, which I had been put on before, but this time it was almost a year's worth of prednisone, and it was high dose prednisone. Nothing, I could not get down lower than 60 milligrams. And for anyone who is not familiar with that dose, that's a pretty damaging dose. You can get Cushing's from that uh, quite quickly, and it can not only cause Cushing's, but it can put you into adrenal failure. Um, and then life just turned around from, having these aspirations of being this big star and this, nurse that worked so hard and this triathlete. It just stopped overnight. So
Right.
um, walking outside, I'm a little um, emotional. Like even just walking outside, I would get so envious of people who could just take a
Be.
couple of steps
Yeah.
outside the door without having to, like choke on their moon face or choke on the fat pad that develops with Cushing's, without the extreme pain that goes along with the third spacing. Third spacing is when the fluid leaves your vascular system and infiltrates the rest of your muscles or tissues. That's Cushing's. That's what Cushing's is. So life stopped, but it got worse. The asthma did not go away with the prednisone. And in February of this year, they switched me to dexamethasone,
Hmm.
which has a longer half-life than prednisone. What steroids are their exogenous cortisol. So
Right.
in a like you would know in a tumor or on the adrenal glands that would hyperproduce cortisol. You'd be in a state of hypercortisolism that would cause these Cushing effects. When you take outside steroids or outside cortisol, it has that similar effect. You just are bombarded with this glucocorticoid, this steroid. And while it has wonderful effects as far as the anti-inflammatory side, it leaves your body in a state where you're just kind of, it destroys you. But this dexamethasone took away the asthma, but within 1 month I went from like 126 pounds to 174.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
That's
fluid,
hard.
yeah, fluid fat. There were so many other things too, but I'll cap it there. It's just an array of symptoms.
Yeah.
Um, at one point,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna interrupt you really quick. I
yeah,
love that you're a nurse because
yeah,
you're explaining it so well.
yeah.
For those that don't understand Cushing's or don't really know what it is, I mean, you're doing great. I love that you're a nurse and sharing
Thank you.
your unique experience because I mean, you shared with me that getting Cushing's from steroids is even a much lower percentage. So you're one of the rare ones. So I'm thankful that you're here with me today with all of us, all the listeners, and I just had a question.
Sure.
So, was it was it your doctor or was it you because you're a nurse? How did you know that you had developed Cushing's? Was it just the immense weight gain all of a sudden? Like how did you know that you had it?
That's it, you know it from nursing school. So
Right.
yeah, and when they give it to you, the first time they give you steroids, they'll say, "Oh, you will develop a little bit of a moon face here and there." And I had been taking prednisone for a lot of my life, but very short bursts. Um, this time around, I was more proactive in trying to get my doctor to prescribe the right dosage of prednisone. Um, it's hard to find good endocrinologists who
Yes.
understand it. Um, a lot of them, in my experience, are not very nice. They're not nice.
I just
Um,
think that this is so misunderstood or just
yeah,
not known well enough that, we're dismissed, we're told you'll
no,
get better, you're young, all the things. But, thankfully, there's people like you that are out there spreading the word too, because I feel like there needs to be more research, there needs to be more studies, there needs to be, and it's hard. I mean, I understand that for the doctor's perspective because each case is so different,
yes,
but when you've got somebody like yourself who went from, 120 to 174, I mean, you mentioned Shana and I, when we were kind of voice noting each other, she mentioned that it was such a rapid increase in weight that she was bumping into the doors, bumping into the
yeah,
walls because her perspective of where her body was compared to a month ago was so like quickly changed
yeah,
that
yeah,
it was a very difficult thing for you. And
yeah.
I guess one of my questions for you is, I know you said it happened last year and you've been on and off steroids from when you were younger, but what do they tell you now? Are you trying to wean off of the steroids? What is their like game plan, I guess?
Yeah. So I actually weaned off dexamethasone, and
Okay. Awesome.
when you get off dexamethasone, I don't know what it's like to have a pituitary tumor, and I'm on a support group, so I just get kind of the secondhand, stories from their experience. But when your cortisol levels start to finally like ease
Balance.
out, like
Yeah.
chill out, there is a certain hope that is not there when your cortisol levels are so high. Um, there's a darkness when you're on this high dose like level, that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And then when I finally got off the dexamethasone and I switched to hydrocortisone, because I don't now make my own cortisol, I was like sleeping 16, 20 hours a day, but there was normalcy. You felt more normal.
Right.
And you don't feel normal for a whole year. And then you feel normal and you're like, oh my God, I'm me again. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sleeping 20 hours, but I still, in my dreams, I feel me. When I'm awake, I feel me. That's what it felt like.
Right. So I'm on hydrocortisone myself.
Okay.
And I only ever took, I mean, so when I was with a new doctor trying to get diagnosed, they gave me one dexamethasone pill to suppress like the amount of cortisol that my own body was making. So that's my only experience with dexamethasone, but it seems you've got more experience than me. And I also don't make sufficient cortisol at the moment. My surgery was almost a year ago, September 23rd of 2024.
Yeah.
But like you said, I feel a little more like myself
Yeah.
than who I was a year ago when I mean, you've seen my pictures on Instagram too. I had the moon face, I had
Yeah.
all the symptoms, and I felt just awful. But, thankfully, this is just, I feel for me, like the last stretch. And
Yeah.
so I guess that's why I was wondering what they have planned for you in terms of hopefully weaning off and feeling even more normal.
Yeah. So it's in healthcare, we don't like to promise anything.
Right,
There's
right.
lawsuits. Um, so I don't like it when they pull the same trick on me and they say it'll get better in time, and they don't have any timelines. So I
Mhm.
think the best timeline I got was from the online support groups, because then you can gauge like, okay, this person had this amount of time. And when they say time, it's like not a couple months, it's like a year, 2 years. So Um, as far as doctors are concerned, I'm doing more of a collaborative effort. I am back on dexamethasone now just because of a small asthma flare up. So I'm navigating to try and get off a lot faster than I did before. And I have more control over it. I'm floating my own doses and I'm
Right,
floating my own taper. And I'm just in, in touch with the doctor on
right.
an every few day basis. Thankfully they're very supportive and they're saying that's a good plan, let's steer away from this, let's do this more. And so they're receptive, but that also comes with a very good hand holding endocrinologist and pulmonologist. If one doesn't have that, they kind of are screwed and just left and eternally frustrated.
And that's the thing, I completely feel you on that because this whole tapering thing has been, I mean, it's like a game, you don't
Yes,
know when to go down because
there's
you
no
might, I mean, a
navigation.
couple weeks ago, like beginning of August, I tried going down because I thought, I've been on this, I was on 7.5. I've been on this 7.5 for like 2 months now. So I feel like, that's a long time in my mind. So I'm
Yes.
gonna I'm gonna try doing 5, like because
Yeah.
they're 5 milligram pills, so I cut them in half, and
What
so it's like,
happened?
okay, I'm gonna do 5. Well, that did not go very well.
Oh no.
I like I said, it's like a game. I was
Yeah.
thinking in my mind, it seemed like it was enough time that it would be okay to taper. But as I was talking with one of our friends here, Christine, who also has Cushing's or had, um, it was so hot in August. I mean, I'm in San Diego. I know it's nowhere near hot as like some other places in the country, but it was hot for us. It was like in the
Yes.
high 80s, very dry and also very humid at the same
Yeah.
time. And I was like, I told my husband, I'm not hungry anymore. I could barely get out of bed. I didn't have really any energy to do much of anything. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll try in a couple more weeks or maybe months. I don't know. And the thing is, I don't know about you, but whenever I go down or attempt to go down, I think I might like psych myself out a little bit and like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, how am I going to feel today? Like, am I going to be
Yeah.
okay? Am I going to be hungry? Am I going to not feel
Yeah.
good? Am I going to need to go back to the higher level? And so it's a process for sure, and it's hard sometimes because like you said, even the best doctors, even if they're hand holding you, they don't know what your body's doing. They don't
No.
really know if you're ready, and so it's like you just gotta keep trying. You have to
Not
keep
on a moment
trying.
to moment basis, they wouldn't.
Right. And so I'm thankful that, the fall hopefully is, coming around the corner. And so I think, once the weather kind of it's finally cooling down a little bit here in San Diego. Maybe once it cools down a little bit more and the heat isn't so draining, because I mean, I
Yes.
talk to some relatives that don't have Cushing's, and even they tell me, oh, the heat drains me, and they're
Yeah.
just they're a normal functioning body. And so it's like, okay, I'm not crazy, the heat isn't just me, so I totally understand you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot of like listening to your body, which can get, it's very empowering, but also very exhausting when you hyperfixate on every little normal thing that no one else, has to really worry about.
Right. And,
Stress. If someone
and
goes boo to me, I can't like, I can't recover.
And when you mentioned, early on in the live here that sometimes you look at other people with a little envy, it's hard because I also understand that. It's just not in a bad way, but it's like I want to be normal,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't not I'm thankful for, finally getting diagnosed and getting in the proper
Yeah.
care, but like I just want to be normal again. And I understand when you said that, and that's why I kind of wanted to go back, is like, our sense of normalcy is a little shifted because like you said, even now when something not Cushing's related happens, like I freak out. Like I think, like what's happening? Is everything gonna be okay? Like, is this something I should be really like calling the doctor for, going to the urgent care, or is it just normal? Because for me, it was hard to get over the fact that I wasn't heard for so long. So
Yes.
now whenever any little thing happens, I like start freaking out. Like, is this normal? Is this not normal? Like, is this Cushing's related? Is this, I don't know. It's just, I need to kind of calm down a little bit and remember that, not everything is related, but we do need to advocate for ourselves when we do
Yes.
feel that it's
Yeah.
necessary.
And strongly, which is very hard because we're surrounded by healthy people. Everything in the media is, well, not everything, but there's a general like happiness, normalcy, strive for something better. So it's it's like we're gaslighting ourselves into doubting that, and maybe this is at an unconscious level, that we're doing something wrong. A lot of what I realized in the last week was, I needed a little bit more steroid, to fight this last bout of asthma. And everyone in my family, and even the doctors were saying, no, stay away from it, stay away from it. And so I would just underdose and stay sick because everyone was getting in my head that, like, you want to be normal, so stay away from
Right.
these drugs. Um, and I would push towards normalcy by under medicating and stay perpetually sick. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, if you go to the bank, you don't have less in the bank than you should. Like, you should always have like reserve in the bank. If you're going uphill, you have to have more water uphill than you do downhill.
Hmm.
So I was thinking, I'm gonna just give myself a buffer with the medication, with the steroid, with the extra cortisol before I really taper back down. And it worked. And every time I'd have family that said, no, don't do that, don't do that, I'd have to really block them off. Some of the doctors I'd have to block off because they're a position of authority over you. They're the experts, but I had to really trust my instincts and not get intentionally or unintentionally gaslit by the world, by my perceived authority figure, and just
Right.
listen to my body. So, like,
Yeah,
you say
there's
the 7.5 to the 5, you only know what that 7.5 to 5 feels like. So
yeah.
screw everybody else. I'm like, no, I already know what this is.
Yeah, and I mean,
Gonna do
it's
it my way.
yeah, it's
And
it's
that's the rule
it's
book.
definitely not fun,
No.
to be on steroids, but the thing is that, like you said, it does provide relief. It does provide what our bodies need at this moment in time. And so, I've kind of made peace with that because I also thought like, oh, my stomach is starting to look kind of poofy again, or oh, my hair is like falling a lot. Like maybe I should go down, and it's like, no, that's maybe like wishful thinking, but like you said, the intuition, our inner voice, that's
Yeah.
what honestly has helped me get down to where I am now because I
Yes.
started at 30 milligrams. And
Yeah.
so thankfully, I mean, that was a year ago, but thankfully, I am where I am now. And it's just, it's a process. It's a waiting game. It's a game. Like I said, it's just, you just gotta go through with it and, do the best we can.
Yeah, it's a different type of life, and it's the appreciation and value that you get out of life also evolves.
Right.
I wish I didn't have to develop that depth and just be shallow and, go outside for a run again and be stupid. But no, I have to go through this stupid journey. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, we're out there. We're, hopefully inspiring others to, listen to themselves, advocate for themselves, and speak up, and trust your intuition because it will never lead you wrong. We all have intuition for a reason. And, I'm thankful to have met the people that I've met,
yeah,
starting
absolutely.
doing this because when I was going through it, I felt very alone,
Yeah.
beyond the fact of like what is happening to me. I didn't really know what was going on. It was just that feeling of like everyone around me looks normal, but I'm like this like round inflated balloon looking like person. And it's like, I'm eating well, I'm exercising, like I don't even know what's going on right now. But, you know,
Yeah.
we've thankfully, I've moved forward. I've met people like you and Christine Emily and all sorts of other women. Unfortunately, this affects more women than men
Yes,
around the US, around the world. You know, this illness, this disease knows no boundaries. It's not like, you know, other diseases where it's like, oh, Hispanic males or, you know, white
right.
female. This just honestly affects everybody, unfortunately. And I think that it's nice that there are other people out there that we can connect with and talk to and share, you know, our feelings, our concerns, what we're going through. Is this normal? Is this, you know, what's not normal, even within this diagnosis, right? And so I really appreciate you being on here with me today. And if there's anything else you'd like to share before we kind of close up here, but thank you for coming on with me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for letting me speak about this. It's and I love seeing all the comments of all your supporters and friends. I'm excited to read your book. I looked it up online. I saw there's like a little jewelry dab. Are you also a nurse? Or are you
No, I have a master's degree in public health. I work alongside doctors, but no,
okay?
I'm
So
not a nurse. But yeah,
in the medical field.
in the medical field. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So very excited to do that and very honored to be part of your friend community and your fan community. And yes, looking
Yeah,
forward to like,
everyone's saying thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story, says Christine.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing. Yes, we appreciate all you listeners and viewers for signing in here with us today and learning a little bit more about us and our specific different stories. But hope everybody has a good rest of their evening and take care.
take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, here we go.